On Larry King Now, Fred Armisen.
We have these sort of gothic witch-looking characters. We call them the weirdos, and those are the ones I feel closest to, because the first sketch he ever did, he was describing his funeral, what he wants his funeral to be, and that is what I want my funeral to be like.
You're a scene stealer. Why in any scene am I always aware of you?
I think that I try not to have too many lines.
Something people get wrong about you.
This is embarrassing, but people might think that I read a lot or that I'm well read, and I think I just don't read enough books. The reason I think people think that of me, not that they think I'm intelligent, is that they'll say to me, because you read that book, you know this author, and I don't.
Plus,
I am only working on it, but Jimmy Kimmel often refers, I noticed that he refers to someone off stage a lot.
yeah, a lot.
So he'll sort of like, and I don't know, and so he did a lovely thing for us. I think he sent us a cake, and I think they sent us this beautiful picture of Spider-Man, which I think I like Spider-Man very much.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now, a return visit for Fred Armisen, Peabody Award-winning, Emmy-nominated actor, comedian, musician, screenwriter, producer. He does it all. He's the co-creator and star of Portlandia, now in its 8th and final year. The 8G band leader for the Late Night Show with Seth Meyers and the third longest tenured member in Saturday Night Live's history. Fred also has an upcoming Netflix comedy special called Stand Up for Drummers. Portlandia airs Thursday at 10 p.m. on IFC. Why is Portlandia ending?
Well, we did 8 seasons, and a couple of years ago, they were just asking, how much more are you going to do? And we just came up with, oh, we'll do another couple of years. And then all of a sudden, that came up. And it just feels nice to have some sort of control over when we're going to finish it.
So it's time.
It's time. Everyone loves doing this show. We're getting along great. It's better to leave when things are good.
Were you a funny kid?
I used to do impressions for my dad, and it made him laugh a lot.
Where'd you grow up?
Long Island, Valley Stream, New York.
Ah,
yeah.
Long Island.
Long Island.
So like one word.
Yeah.
Do you ever go through dry spells, creative dry spells?
Sure. When I'm writing, sometimes if that happens, I just try to do something else. So I never take for granted that I'm going to have an idea, but when it happens, I just walk around, hope for the best, and then
pop
something. Yeah. Usually, what I'll do is I'll pick up something else. So pick up I'll play the drums or something, just something that like.
Drums is a big thing with you.
Yeah, I grew up as a drummer. I still consider myself a drummer.
You're a drummer who does comedy,
yes.
Not a comedian who drums.
Drumming came first.
If you had only one thing to do professionally, you would drum?
I'm so happy to be able to do comedy. Like, I feel very lucky that I get to do even a little bit, that I would actually pick comedy. But drumming is in, whenever I go on stage, I still think of myself, I'm a drummer about to do some comedy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What Portlandia characters do you feel closest to, all you've played?
There's a character, we have these sort of gothic witch-looking characters. We call them the weirdos, and they've got long black hair, their faces are painted white, and they're just sort of into monsters and horror, and those are the ones I feel closest to, because this character, the first sketch he ever did, he was describing his funeral, what he wants his funeral to be, and that is what I want my funeral to be like. I want my funeral to be scary. I want it to be a terrifying experience with lightning and thunder and
Why?
I love that aesthetic.
You picked out your burial site, didn't you?
I did, on Friday.
Where is it?
Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And it's a great place. They show movies there, they play music there, but I picked where I'm going to be, and I just love that place. It's just a great, there's some great people there. 2 of the Ramones are there, and it's just Rudolph Valentino's there.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's just a cool looking place, and I also don't want to leave it for everyone else to do. I don't want to, after I'm gone, all of a sudden all these other people have to pick out a place and do all that. I want it to be, they don't have to lift a finger.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
You said you could watch your Portlandia co-star Carrie Brownstein forever.
Yes.
You were last here with her.
Yes.
Is it hard to say goodbye to her?
We are in no way saying goodbye.
So you're going to do other things?
She lives close by to me. We were best friends before the show, and we just have a close enough relationship that the show is just one aspect of it. The rest of it keeps on going.
How did you come up with the whole idea of Portland, Oregon, satirizing it?
Well, that's where Carrie lived, and I would go visit her, and it was just what was around us. It was just this very, I would call it a very successful city. It's just like this city that just works really well.
Very young.
Yes. And, you know, Pacific Northwest, so the weather's nice. It's like a little chilly and then warm enough in the summer, and very green, very lush.
Rains.
Rains. It's just like this kind of, it's almost like a kind of heaven in a way.
How has the show affected the city?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't go under the assumption that many people watch the show. I don't think like the show's so strong that we can affect populations. I think the city has changed.
How so?
There are more buildings going up. There are more businesses opening up. But I just don't know. I don't have the math, and I don't have the math to know how we affect it.
When you go there, how recognized are you?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, and everyone's very friendly, and tourists, I think, they seem amused. So
Why did that show click?
That's another thing I don't know. I can guess that because it's about a relationship between me and Carrie, maybe that's something that we try to get into, the idea of people always trying to do the right thing as a sort of motor, as a sort of engine, maybe something in there, but I have no idea. Sometimes I think it's the opening theme music. The opening theme music is very, it's a little melancholy. That's sort of, so there's something in there that's not obnoxious. It's not an obnoxious opening theme that I think is sort of soothing.
Have you ever done anything mean?
I
ever play a mean part?
We try not to do that. It's a lesson I learned from Saturday Night Live, where it's not a moral thing. It's that I think audiences get turned off if something's too mean. I think they just, at SNL, we have a live audience there. There's something that happens where as soon they can feel you starting to get mean, there's enough misery in the world that if that part of you comes out, I have a suspicion that people are like, we're good on that. That said, I'm sure there are people who do that well, but it doesn't work for me.
Our guest is Fred Armisen. We're discussing a punk drummer's approach to comedy and Fred's new Netflix special right after the break. Stay with us. Portlandia, of course, airs Thursdays at 10 p.m. on IFC. You said you're first a drummer. Is there a link between comedy and drumming? Is drumming funny?
I think it is. I think that...
Well, you're just standing there beating on something.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly to begin with.
It is kind of silly. It's not very graceful, or some people could do it that way, but I think cymbals are silly. I think many comedians are drummers. Johnny Carson was a drummer. Peter Sellers was a drummer. And I think there's a lot to be said about people who choose to play the drums, in that the drums are in the back. The singer and guitar player, everyone's up front, but the drummer's in the back, but you're still trying to get attention. It's a weird mix of don't look at me, but please.
Bobby Darin thought the drummer was the key to the swing driving bands.
I agree with that.
I knew Buddy Rich pretty well.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
What was he like as a person?
He was very honest.
Was he?
He would put down people.
Uh-huh.
They thought Glenn Miller was overrated. He was wild.
Uh-huh. Where did he make his living the most? Records or touring?
Both. I think he...
Yeah.
Mel Torme told me that Mel Torme thought he could be a serious drummer until he heard Buddy Rich play.
Yeah.
He could not do what Buddy Rich did.
Buddy Rich started when he was 3 or something. He was like a little kid.
But when you listened to him, could he do things that you said as a drummer, I can't do that?
Absolutely. People who played that kind of jazz, that's a skill that it's it's like a mountaintop, you know, like you just can't reach it. You could try to copy it, but there's also something that you can't just break down. You watch him play, and he's like possessed. You know what I mean? Like he's possessed, and it's more than just the math of how fast he could do it. There's like a real artistry to it.
What about your Netflix special? What's on it?
Well, it's a stand-up special. It's called Stand Up for Drummers. And what we did is in the audience is only drummers. We advertised it so only drummers are in the audience so that all the jokes are specific to drum equipment, to types of drummers. So
How will the regular audience get it?
I don't know.
But I mean, you're doing a joke with drummers for drummers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you call that very in?
It's very inside, but the reason I say I don't know is because would I watch something about, let's say there's a car mechanic who did jokes only for other car mechanics? I would watch that.
Oh, I'll watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be fascinated to watch it, but will I not understand a lot of it?
Maybe, but maybe that's the thrill of it, you know, seeing, because we cut to the audience and they love it. You know,
Do you drum on it?
Yeah, oh yes. There's a lot of drumming on it.
Do any of the audience members drum?
Yes, as they come through the door, they have to prove that they're a drummer by playing on a pad.
Where'd you do it?
In San Francisco, at the Great American Music Hall.
Who came up with that idea? You?
Me, yeah. Because it was something that had momentum and passion. Because if I did regular stand-up, I just don't know. I feel like other people are really great at it and they have all these stories. But as soon as I started doing the drummer one, I had more material immediately. There's so much there.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh, I hope you like it.
You're a scene stealer. You're not deliberately a scene stealer. But why in any scene am I always aware of you? What are you doing, Freddie?
I think I think that I try not to have too many lines. I don't think I'm good at talking for lengths of time and doing little monologues. So I always ask to say less. I'm like, can I cut these lines? Can I just do it so I'm in and out?
Really?
And yeah,
You don't do stand-up?
Regular stand-up, I try to incorporate something like drumming, and I'll have an instrument up there.
So you don't bomb?
My first years of doing stand-up comedy was bombing all the time. Dead silence. Because I would do a character, no jokes really. I would just come out as some character and people were very quiet.
You have 20 credited roles from 2017 alone. 20.
Oh, great. I did not know that.
How do you do all that work?
It somehow never feels like enough. I always want to do one more thing. I think, okay, this is a perfect example. I had today off, and then, they said, Larry King, is there any time in the week? Yes, Monday. Great. I just like to do one more thing. Just one, just like to add to my day. I like to add to my week.
Why do you like being other people?
Because I'm interested in them.
You do me.
We
have where we did me and you and me, and you as me and me. You, my last show you were on?
Yes, I was. And this is true. On my shelf, I have a picture that someone took of you watching me playing you. So I'm on the TV, and it's funny because you're sitting back like this, and you're watching me. And when I used to do you on SNL, I always had you kind of up like this.
I do.
Yeah. So, So why do I'm interested in people. I'm interested in accents. I like that. It's just amazing to me that, people could speak the same language in so many different ways.
He's very special. Fred Armisen. Coming up, we'll talk about Fred with fame and Fred handling compliments and many memorable impressions, that and more after the break. We're back with Fred Armisen. He's got a Netflix series, and he's got Portlandia. Portlandia, it airs Thursdays at 10 p.m. on IFC. You've impersonated Prince, you do Obama, you've done me. What's the key to nailing an impression?
I think the impression has to come to you. So I would see someone on TV, and I would just something just says, oh, I think I could do that person. Like, I was watching Joy Behar, I remember, I thought, oh, I think she's in my sort of same tone of voice and stuff, so maybe you look like the person.
Is it more the approach than the voice necessarily? It's sort of like getting into the in of the person.
It's kind of, you do think of the audience, you think of your friends, and you think, how can I make my friends laugh? So it's almost like asking a question. It's like saying, hey, did you ever notice that this person is like this? It's almost like when you do the impression, you're sort of posing a question.
Was Saturday Night Live always fun?
Oh, it was a dream. It was such a dream. I get to go back once in a while, but I remember thinking this is going to be the best job I'm ever going to have. This is going to be the best time, and it was. It was just everyone is so smart. Everyone, these writers who are just, they'll watch something on the news and the way that they spin it or the way that they see it, always incredible. And just every day, you're just with geniuses.
You said you always wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not just the attention of people, it's because the people I admired were famous. So, for example, I loved David Byrne from Talking Heads. I was like, that's what I want to be. Or John Waters, or Stuart Copeland, people like that. I just admired them so deeply that I thought, I want to grow up to do what they do.
We play a little game, Fred, of If You Only Knew.
Great.
You don't have to answer them.
And I do not know these in advance.
Who is your childhood celebrity crush?
I remember I used to have a picture of Nena, this German singer. I used to really have a huge crush on her. She did 99 Luftballons.
Nena, the German singer, is your crush?
Yeah.
You're weird, Armisen. Secret talent?
I'm very good at Red Dead Redemption, a video game. Where it's like Red Dead Redemption. It's like a video game where there's like shooting and like horses and stuff.
Guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. Do sweets and chocolate count as a guilty pleasure? Of course. Yeah.
Favorite collaborator other than Carrie?
Favorite collaborator other than Carrie? Maya Rudolph.
Weirdest job you ever had?
I worked as a tour guide for Radio City Music Hall. And,
really?
Yeah. And it was a very strange job because you just toured backstage and it was all numbers. There are 5,684 seats. There are, 200 lights. It's just numbers, numbers, numbers. And then these people who paid to just walk, through the halls and look at the stage and stuff. So.
Is there any impression you work on that you can do for me? Is there anyone you're working on now?
Wow. Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, I don't think I'm working on anybody right now.
Okay. You don't have
Oh, yes. Jimmy Kimmel. I am only working on it, but Jimmy Kimmel often refers, I noticed that he refers to someone off stage a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
So he'll sort of like, and I don't know, and so he did a lovely thing for us. I think he sent us a cake, and the other thing that Jimmy Kimmel does is he doesn't stop talking. He just, it's a continual thing, and I think they sent us this beautiful picture of Spider-Man, which I think, I like Spider-Man very much, and it's something that, so that's what I'm working on. It's not done, but it's a sort of reference.
Also, while the audience is applauding, he keeps talking when he comes on, right?
I'm going to steal that little bit of information.
Who would you trade places with for a day?
Tim Cook from Apple.
Something you wish you were better at?
Being up high, and heights and skiing and any of those things. I don't like that I get scared immediately.
Do you ski?
No, but I'm just everything that people take for granted, or going on elevators that are, those glass elevators where you can see out.
You don't like that?
Hate it. And I wish I was better at, because everyone acts so normal, and my palms sweat, and I just don't like it.
Because you can see out the elevator.
I hate it.
What never fails to make you laugh?
America's Funniest Home Videos is, I don't know how they do it. They always pick something that, there's like comedy laughing when you watch a comedy, but then there's really laughing. And the videos they put together.
Why do we like to see people fall down manholes?
I think it's always, it's so unexpected.
Wait
a minute. What makes you laugh? What's something that makes you laugh?
Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Say hello, down.
Yeah, yeah.
Something you're afraid of.
Well, heights, like I said, but I think I'm afraid of the ocean too.
Ocean, me too.
Yeah, it's too powerful.
The undertow.
The whole thing is too powerful. One wave and you're down, and
boats bouncing.
also on ships, the vast ocean. It's just too far. It's just too like. How can there be no land?
If I can't see land, I don't go.
I'm not interested.
Best compliment you ever got.
I like it when a family will say something. So if I'm at an airport or something like that, and it's a group of people, like, hey, we watch your show. I think that's really, really nice.
Strangest fan encounter.
Someone once gave me a loaf of bread when I was in Portland, and I was on my way to the movies, and I think she might have worked at a bakery, and she's like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. Can I give you this bread? And then I went to the movies with this loaf of bread. And there was something about this size of bread that I can just put in my pocket.
You have a strange life, don't you, Fred?
But a good life.
An interesting life.
Yeah.
Something people get wrong about you.
Oh, well, I think that people might, this is embarrassing, but people might think that, I don't even know if people think this, but that I read a lot or that I'm well-read, and I think I just don't read enough books.
You're not well-read?
I will admit that I'm not well-read, because when I see people around me and how much they read, a book a week, and I think because I have glasses, the reason I think people think that of me, not that they think I'm intelligent, is that they'll say to me, because you read that book, you know this author, and I don't.
What should we be paying more attention to?
Ocean safety.
When do you feel most free?
When I'm driving in Los Angeles.
Really?
I love it. It is one of my most favorite things in the world.
Why?
Because when you drive over a hill, you see the pretty twinkling lights and the palm trees. If it's nighttime, you see the silhouette of the palm tree, and it's just like, oh, this is great. You're sort of gliding around in your own space and listening to music.
Even if it's bumper to bumper?
Even if it's bumper to bumper. I love it. I love Los Angeles so much.
Me too. I don't know why anyone would ever leave this city.
I hate leaving this city. I hate getting on a plane and leaving this city. I really do. At night, it just feels great.
Fred will answer your many social media questions after the break. Plus, does Carl have a future on Last Man on Earth? More after the break. Okay, before we get into social medias, what can you tell me about what's going to happen to your role on Last Man on Earth?
So that's Will Forte from Saturday Night Live. He's got a show on Fox called Last Man on Earth. And they found me in a prison there. I dressed up as a prison guard, but I was really a cannibal. And I'm not allowed to say what happens to Carl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right, secret.
Secret, yeah.
Some social media questions.
Okay.
Thomas Joyce, now that Portland is expensive, where can an attitude needs adjustment young person go to retire? Portland is expensive now.
It's getting expensive. I say the outskirts of Los Angeles, going out to like say Calabasas, Reseda, and also there are smaller towns in Oregon like Salem and Eugene that might be better financially.
Cortland Beal, has Portland gotten softer and easier to offend since the first episode of Portlandia debuted?
I'd say it's been about the same. I think that people will either take things as a joke or not. I think that doesn't change.
Daniel Christopher Thomas, what did you do for your SNL audition?
Well, the SNL audition was at the studio in front of Lorne Michaels and Tina Fey and the producers, and I dressed up as Felicito, who's like a Venezuelan timbale player, and I did him doing the audition. So I went up as him. I did 2 characters and 2 impressions. Vin Diesel and Sam Waterston, and then I also did a self-defense expert. So I just had to.
Sam Waterston?
Yeah.
No one does Sam Waterston.
Yeah, I don't know. He was one of those people. I was like, I think I could do that guy, and that was it. 2 and 2, and then it was supposed to be 5 minutes at the most. I just went up there. I couldn't believe I was in that studio. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is crazy. And then one thing led to another, and I got to do the show.
Oh, how soon after the audition?
There was a phone call I got as soon as I got downstairs that clued me into the fact that it was going to happen. So they just...
They liked you right away.
Yeah,
Daniel Christopher Thomas, did you have a friendship with Prince?
I met him a couple of times, and that's it.
I interviewed him. I loved him.
You did?
Oh, yeah. I did a whole hour. He was funny. He was sensational in New York. He was a great... And people told me, he won't be good. He doesn't like... He was fantastic.
That means he trusted you. You must have made him feel at ease.
That's the whole secret of this.
Yeah.
The whole secret of interviewing is trust.
Yeah.
Make the camera, microphone disappear.
Yeah.
Cheesehead 1976. What's your worst habit?
I think I clear my throat too much. I'll be in my car and I'm like, ahem, ahem. I'm like, why am I doing that?
Dude, how are you? Do you ever wish comedy was your side thing and music was your main career?
I don't wish anything. I'm glad I get to do them both.
Seahawk Daddy, do you like being painted?
That's a reference to Last Man on Earth. And sure, I think it's better than being photographed.
Day Tripper 3, favorite movie?
Brazil, Terry Gilliam.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro.
Yes.
Favorite candy?
Dark chocolate.
Favorite SNL skit from MC Sampson?
My favorite skit that I've ever seen on Saturday Night Live is Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer. That's Phil Hartman, where he plays this caveman who's like a lawyer, and he's like, I don't understand fax machines and airplanes, but I do know that my client is, it was just, he was so good in it. I don't have the exact wording, but, and for me, I enjoyed doing Garth and Kat. That's Kristen Wiig and me would go on Weekend Update, would make up songs as we went along.
She's great.
Oh, she's the greatest.
Oh, Fred, thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to my guest, Fred Armisen. Portlandia airs Thursdays at 10 p.m. on IFC, and Stand Up for Drummers premieres on Netflix February 6th, and you can find me on Twitter at Kings Things. I'll see you next time.